Welcome to our channel. Today, we discuss a mind-bending scenario that has captured human imagination for centuries. What if we discover time travel, but can't return? Imagine it's 2075, and humanity has finally cracked the code of moving through time. The scientific breakthroughs that have led us here are nothing short of miraculous, combining quantum physics, nanotechnology, and energy manipulation in ways that we can barely comprehend. But as exhilarating as the prospect is, there's a chilling catch. Once someone travels through time, there's no guaranteed path back. The idea alone raises more questions than answers, touching on the very core of what it means to be human, the nature of existence, and the ethical implications of exploring our past and future. Think about the excitement for a moment. Humans have always dreamed of correcting mistakes, witnessing monumental events firsthand, or even peeking into what the future holds. What would it feel like to stand at the signing of the Declaration of Independence, to watch the construction of the pyramids, or to witness humanity's first step on Mars? The temptation is irresistible. But here's where the scenario gets terrifying. The moment you step through the temporal threshold, you are cut off from your own timeline. There's no guarantee you'll survive in a different era, no certainty that you won't be trapped in a world vastly different from the one you know. Suddenly, the dream of time travel becomes a high-stakes gamble, and every decision carries monumental weight. Imagine a team of scientists in 2075, each a pioneer in their field, stepping into the first functioning time vessel. They know the risks, but the lure of discovery is too strong. The vessel hums with energy as quantum particles begin to align, creating a bridge across the continuum of time. Then, with a flash and a sudden shift in perception, they are gone. Perhaps one ends up in 2150, where technology is indistinguishable from magic, or another finds themselves in the Jurassic period, surrounded by creatures that are both awe-inspiring and lethal. The initial excitement gives way to a gnawing anxiety. Will they ever see their families, friends, or even the Earth they once knew again? And what about the people they left behind? Their disappearance could spark panic, speculation, and profound grief, but the implications stretch even further than personal tragedy. If time travel is one way, history itself becomes a precarious puzzle. A single traveler could accidentally alter events, creating ripples that dramatically reshape the future. This is the classic butterfly effect, but magnified exponentially. For instance, imagine a traveler attempting to prevent a historical disaster, only to unintentionally trigger an even worse outcome. The ethical dilemmas become staggering. Should humanity allow people to risk themselves to alter history, knowing the consequences could be catastrophic? Or should time travel be reserved solely for observation? A purely academic endeavor with strict safeguards? And if someone is permanently stranded, how do we weigh the value of their sacrifice against the potential benefits of their discoveries? On a personal level, the psychological effects of permanent time displacement would be profound. Human beings are inherently social creatures, shaped by the familiar rhythms of their society and the connections they form throughout life. To step into a timeline where everything is foreign, the language, the culture, the environment, could be profoundly isolating. Even if the traveler lands in a relatively familiar era, the knowledge that they can never return home might create a deep sense of existential despair. Mental health concerns would become paramount. Would future societies develop support systems for displaced time travelers? Could virtual reality simulations or AI companions help mitigate loneliness? Or would nothing replace the comfort of one's own era? We also have to consider the logistical and scientific challenges of one-way time travel. Without a return mechanism, travelers would need to carry everything necessary to survive indefinitely. Food, medicine, tools, knowledge, all would have to be meticulously prepared. Imagine landing in the year 5000 with only what you brought from 2075. Even the most advanced technology might be useless if it relies on infrastructure that no longer exists. Alternatively, if you arrive in the distant past, you could face unimaginable dangers, predators, disease, or even social hierarchies that might not welcome a newcomer from the future. Each decision made before departure could determine life or death, success or failure, and the weight of such responsibility cannot be overstated. The societal impact on the 2075 civilization itself would also be enormous. The ability to send people into the past or future, even with the risk of permanent loss, would be both a source of national pride and a profound ethical controversy. Governments might regulate time travel tightly, controlling who can go and for what purpose. Private corporations could see enormous profit in offering time travel as an extreme adventure, raising questions about exploitation and inequality. If only the wealthy can afford to be the pioneers of temporal exploration, the consequences could be far-reaching, both morally and socially. There's also the risk of political manipulation. What if a state wants to place agents in the past to subtly alter history to its advantage? One-way time travel could become a weapon, a tool for covert influence that spans centuries. And then there's the question of the universe itself. Could repeated one-way time travel create anomalies in the space-time continuum? Could there be a cumulative effect, where each journey subtly destabilizes the fabric of reality? The laws of physics as we understand them are delicate, and introducing irreversible changes might have consequences beyond our comprehension. Scientists would need to tread carefully, balancing the allure of discovery with the potentially catastrophic consequences of recklessly tampering with time. Every experiment would be a lesson in humility, a reminder that even the most brilliant minds are limited by the complexity of the cosmos. But let's not forget the human drive for curiosity. History is full of pioneers who risked everything to explore the unknown: Antarctica, the depths of the ocean, the far reaches of space. Time travel is merely the next frontier. Even knowing the risks, it's almost inevitable that humanity would attempt it. Perhaps the first travelers would be volunteers, selected for their knowledge, resilience, and adaptability. Maybe some would even volunteer knowing they would never return, driven by a desire to witness history firsthand, to be part of something bigger than themselves. This raises profound questions about courage, sacrifice, and the nature of ambition. What does it say about humanity that we are willing to gamble our existence to see the past or glimpse the future? Of course, there's also the possibility of unintended discoveries. A traveler stranded in a distant future could find technology or knowledge that seems miraculous, perhaps even godlike, compared to what we know in 2075. Imagine someone landing in a society that has conquered disease, mastered energy, or even achieved immortality. The traveler's perspective would be forever altered, their understanding of possibility expanded in ways unimaginable to their original era. Conversely, a traveler could also witness a dystopian future, one shaped by climate disaster, societal collapse, or technological overreach. The information brought back, if any could be communicated, could change the trajectory of human development in profound ways. Then there's the question of communication. If travelers cannot return, could they still transmit information back to their original timeline? Maybe they could send messages through quantum entanglement, or leave behind artifacts designed to be discovered centuries later. Even without returning, their impact on history could be significant. Future generations might interpret these messages in ways the traveler never intended, creating new myths, scientific breakthroughs, or even conflicts. The idea that someone could alter history indirectly, without ever setting foot in the past again, is both fascinating and terrifying. On a more philosophical level, permanent time displacement challenges our understanding of life itself. Humans are deeply tied to the concept of linear time. Birth, growth, aging, and death are understood in the context of a single timeline. If a person is removed from that timeline permanently, how do we define their existence? Are they still part of our history, or do they become an anomaly, a ghost wandering through the corridors of time? This idea strikes at the heart of identity and mortality, forcing us to reconsider what it means to be human in a universe where time is no longer a guarantee. It's also worth considering the emotional consequences for those left behind. Families, friends, and societies would have to cope with permanent loss, knowing that the traveler might still exist somewhere in time, yet can never return. The grief would be compounded by uncertainty. What if the traveler suffers in some distant era? What if they thrive and forget the people they left behind? The psychological toll on society could be profound, reshaping our collective understanding of life, loss, and the bonds that tie us together. And yet, despite all these risks and uncertainties, the allure of one-way time travel would be irresistible. Humans are explorers at heart. The possibility of witnessing history firsthand, of peering into the future, or even of leaving a lasting mark on another era, is a temptation that would likely outweigh fear for many. We may find ourselves facing a paradox: the more dangerous the journey, the greater the desire to embark upon it. In this sense, Time travel is both a mirror and a magnifier of human nature, reflecting our curiosity, ambition, and the complex interplay between courage and hubris. In the end, discovering time travel without the ability to return would force humanity to confront some of its deepest questions. Are we prepared to send people into the unknown, knowing they may never come back? Can we balance curiosity with responsibility, ambition with ethics? How do we navigate a world where the past and future are no longer untouchable, where every choice carries consequences that stretch across centuries? These are not just scientific or technological questions, they are profoundly human ones, touching on morality, philosophy, and the very essence of what it means to exist. So, what would you do if given the chance to travel through time, knowing you could never return? Would you take the risk for the thrill of discovery, the chance to witness history, or even the hope of shaping the future? Or would the weight of permanence, of leaving everything behind, be too great? The scenario challenges us to think deeply about risk, reward, and the value we place on the lives we know versus the possibilities we can only imagine. In 2075, as humanity stands on the precipice of time travel, the choices we make will define not just our own future, but the legacy of every generation that follows. It is a journey filled with wonder, terror, and unimaginable potential. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: time is a treasure we often take for granted, and the chance to move through it comes with responsibilities that are both profound and humbling. Thank you for joining us as we explored this mind-bending possibility. If this scenario sparked your imagination, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you dare step into a one-way time portal, or is some curiosity better left unexplored? We can't wait to hear what you think, and we'll see you in the next mind-expanding discussion.